Hello all, it's Jmix here, and if you would like to check out the new merch store, it is up and running. The link is going to be in the description down below. Check it out and tell me what you think down in the comment section.
This is a Jmix exclusive.
They knew I was weird. They knew I was strange, but then they knew I was cool. I wasn't no threat. I was a help. And they liked the way I carried myself. I kept my nose clean, and I stayed out of all the gang business. I quit going. I would go to Dre's house when Dre's, when we first started. Dre had a house in Calabasas, and we would go at Dre's house and cut. And sometime I would maybe go to one of the parties that Dre might have with the girls or something and be there. But that when they started going on, the violent shit started happening. When they started going out, I never went to none of that shit, man. Like somebody would go get beat up or shot or whatever. I never went because I wasn't supposed to be there. I knew what it was. I'm from Detroit. I wasn't. I was like 38, 39 years old then. So I knew what it was. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna be in none of that. Period.
Is Suge Knight the big bad wolf that people make him out to be?
Well, it depends on what side of Suge you on. I was on the good side of Suge, always will be, and always from the very beginning. When you saw me do that flip on that TV show, on that MTV award show, when you saw me play like I played, how I was dressed and how I had my, I had that zone thing going, man. I still got it. And when you saw me, if you could ever look it up, just look up the MTV Movie Awards. It had Eddie Murphy was the host, and we all was dressed like Funkadelic. Everybody had different kind of crazy shit on, and I had this badass motorcycle thing, but it was actually rock and roll leather outfit with the shingles and all that shit. But it was like some Sly Stone, some badass shit I had on. And we at the Energy thing, the band took it, and the camera zoomed in on me, and I did a flip, a back over flip, and they talked about that shit for a long time. And then they saw that how I could really record really quickly and professionally, because I've been playing all my life and doing records way before the end. That's and I was cool. I didn't get in them young guys' business, man, because that ain't my world. But I know of that world. So Suge peeped all of that, and they even wanted me to do something, but it wasn't meant for me to have an album out on Death Row because that would have put me in the firing zone. Because Suge and Dre was going to have me do something, and it just didn't work out. I don't know why, but it wasn't meant to work out because that would have put me too close to the firing zone, I think. So God just moved that aside. That's how deep it was. They wanted me to actually do my own project there. But, I don't know exactly why, but spiritually I know why. Because I didn't need to be in the driver's seat. If I would have hit and had a hit at Death Row, then I would have been, I would have been riding with the Cowboys. And that wasn't for me to do that. So that's how much respect I had up there. I forgot to tell you that, but that's just how deep it was up there. So that's what got Suge to look at me like he did. And he would give me this big bear hug every time I see him. It was never, ever, Hammer, everybody. It was never, ever no problem with me or nobody up there.
Could it be a dangerous place to work for other people?
Oh, it was. It was a dangerous place to work for maybe a couple other musicians because you come in there talking about you ain't got paid or something like that, you might have to leave quickly. They always had my money for me. Because we was getting ready to do Saturday Night Live again. I think this time they was getting ready to do it with Pop, because we had already did it a couple of times with Snoop and Dre. Well, we did it a couple of times with Snoop. Now, like we did a bunch of TV shows. I was doing a bunch of TV shows with him and with Warren G too. But anyway, we can redo the TV show. I think it was with Pop. And I called up there. I said, "Man, what's happening?" He said, "Come on up, man. We got 8,500 for you." So, and I mean, I would get my money before I go. I mean, it wasn't no problem, but I would call up. I remember calling up there about my money, and I wouldn't get the show. Not that I wasn't going to do the show, because they would always have my money, but they would always have my situation together. Some guys weren't as lucky to get paid quick, but they I was respected, and I gave respect, and I kept my nose clean. I had sense enough not to get in them young guys' business, man. I was going to be their uncle anyway. So what? I would talk to Snoop's dad. I mean, he was cool. I would talk to some of the other guys that was older, and I would talk to the young guys. But I would talk to them more like an uncle, or they would ask me questions about music and questions about people I played with, stuff like that sometimes. But other than that, I knew to stay out the other world because, like I said, I come up in that. My boys, even when I was coming up in school, I was like famous playing piano and playing guitar in school. And some of my boys was gangster types. They wouldn't let me do nothing. They said, "You're going to be a star." So they kept me from a lot of the street stuff. You know what I mean? So that's kind of the vibe I had when I came there. So that it worked for me, to be like that kind of guy, keep my nose clean and be Ricky Rouse.
Were there ever situations there that made you feel uncomfortable?
Yeah, when we went on that tour, some of the goons was kind of not at me, but around. I knew not to go to the after parties. We only did like about 3 gigs, and then a couple of the guys, they was a little rough with some of the other people. But I always kept my situation where some kind of little halo was on me. They never did come at me like that, but I knew it was a possibility of that. So I kept my distance from some of the guys, because some of the guys had just got out of jail and all that kind of shit. And they was, that's what destroyed that tour, because some of those guys, they was, jail guys. And that's the security that Suge had at that time. When we were on that little 2-week tour that was supposed to last 2 months, it didn't even last 2 weeks. It might have lasted about 8 days, I think. And they was kicking people's asses and stealing the cars, and stealing the all kind of crazy. So I just would go to the gig, and I'd go back to the hotel and let them have it, because I knew I didn't need to be in the car. They snatching people out the car to put the girls in and all that kind of shit. So I seen that, and I just maneuvered around it, because I knew I wasn't supposed to be in that. All the thing I did was, when they want me to play, I was there. Other than that, I was kind of ghost. And the next thing I knew, everybody was going home anyway. Snoop and Dre started hanging right on the wall. They slipped out. And then we was on TV. The band was on TV. And the tour was over 8 days later. Like I said, it wasn't going to last 2 weeks. In the last 8 days. So that was the only time that things got a little crazy, where I had to watch closely who I was with and where I was going and that kind of thing. It got a little funny then. But I was cool enough to dance away from it and sidestep it. Other than that, I had no problem. And the same goons that did that, when they would see me at the studio, it was all respect. And they was crazy. I know crazy. Because like I said, I'm from one of the most notorious cities in the world, Detroit. And some of my boys are like that. Some of my boys are dead today because they was like that. So I know, that element. But it was never for me to be in that element.
Now, you spoke about when Pac came to death row, Snoop was he was on his murder case and working on beating that. Was there any, because you did a lot of work with Tupac and you had previously worked with Dre, was there any separate?
I had worked with Snoop too. Like I said, me and Snoop did, I did Saturday Night Live twice with Snoop. I did several TV shows with Snoop and Dre when I first got there, and they had G-Thing out. And I did all the I did the Warren G stuff, and then Nate was in that. Nate was kind of in both companies too, because I would play with Warren G's thing, and Nate would be on that, and I would play with Snoop's thing, and Nate would be in that, and I did all the Nate's albums. So I pretty much did everybody there, I think. Only somebody I didn't play with was Quick, because he had Rob Bacon. He had Bacon way back then, so he had his own cat. But he would come and pick up me play though, and we was always cool. But everybody else, I think I pretty much got a chance to play on this stuff.
I guess what my question would be, because Pac was famous, by the time he'd already got there, was there any kind of separation of camps when he showed up? Was there any kind of, jealousy from other artists waiting to have releases?
No, because him and Suge, of course, was cool, and him and Snoop was cool. They was boys. So Snoop wasn't jealous of him, and he wasn't jealous of Snoop, because he was already a star before Snoop got to be a star. And then Snoop's album was so big, he was already written in stone after that first album. He was just going through that thing. And Dre had left, so Dogfather wasn't as big as it should have been, because Dre wasn't the producer of it. But Snoop was already a star, but he couldn't really focus on what he was doing all the way because of the murder case. And I told Snoop he was going to get off. But I was the guy that knew the secret station. But I didn't get that deep into the stuff where I knew not to get that deep into things. I was that guy that they said that's Ricky Rouse, and I would be gone. When I come in, everybody, I was like a little celebrity up there, like they were. Only I was the musician celebrity. They was the stars, but I was a star musician celebrity at Death Row. I'm not trying to I'm not egoing. I'm just saying that's the way they looked at me like that. So they didn't, that's just the way it was, even with the police. So, that's pretty much. Now what are you exactly asking me? Because I probably would have ran off the road again.
I was asking. You answered it. I was just asking if there was artists that were waiting for album releases, and then Tupac shows up, and
I'm sure it was some of that. Because Pac, once he came, he became number one because Snoop had been number one, and Dre left. So Pac became the number one, and then Pac already being a star, but before Snoop was a star, he took the front seat. But Snoop was riding next to him, but he took the front seat. And Snoop really wasn't jealous of that because he was going through that thing, and he knew how big he was. He knew how big his album was. So that he was able to ride that album. And the first album wasn't no flop. It just wasn't no big. It wasn't nowhere. The second album wasn't no flop. It just wasn't nowhere near big as the first album. So after he got acquitted, which I told him he did, I said, "Man, I'm praying for you, man. You go make it." And he said, "I kind of believe you, Ricky Rouse." And because he knew I was that guy, and he got off.
This is a Jmix exclusive.
Whatever, shut up. Yeah.